If you're an athlete, why the hell are you training like a bodybuilder? Have you seen the way bodybuilders move or how they try to run? Really ask yourself, how is that going to help you dominate on the field? Too many athletes destroy their movement and gas out early because they chase aesthetics with no plan. That's why in this video, I'm going to show you how to build the physique you actually want, lean, powerful and athletic without sacrificing performance. Watch to the end and I'll show you the blueprint that will not only help you look good but move like a killer. Before we start, my name is Tig and I help field sport athletes build an aesthetic physique without not only losing performance but actually performing better. So, why should you trust me? I've made every single mistake in the book. I trained like a bodybuilder, overtrained like a maniac, and did push-pull leg split in season. What was the result? I was constantly sore, stiff, and slow. Now, I looked pretty good, and I was definitely strong, probably the strongest on my team. Unfortunately, strength is only one attribute. I also did plenty of cardio and sports training, but completely neglected power, agility, speed, and flexibility. So, while I could easily last the whole game and basically break through any tackle I wanted, that was about all I could do. That's not a full player. Now, I'm actually training less, yet my performance is at an all-time high. I'm also one of the fastest players on my team, and my physique is still pretty good, even better than when I was chasing it. My sport, by the way, is a sport called Gaelic football. It's an Irish sport. It's very good. You should look it up. If you want a bit more credibility, I'll put my stats up on screen now. And well, I'm only 17 at the minute, so I think these are pretty good. So what's the problem with most training styles nowadays? I see it in the gym all the time. There's lads treating bench press like the main lift, never training legs, and chasing the pump wherever possible. Now, I love chasing the pump. It actually has a lot of benefits as well. And don't get me wrong, I get it. You go on social media nowadays and you barely see any athlete workouts. It's all just bodybuilding. And the athlete workouts you do see, they're not tailored to you, your sport, or your stage of the season. Very rarely anyway. It's the exact trap I fell into. I was too busy training muscles and not training movements. And again, I don't think bodybuilding is bad. I actually think it's very beneficial for a sport where you're constantly going into contact. Your muscles literally act as a layer of armor, believe it or not. And that's actually a fact. It's not something I just come up with just now. But again, the problems come in when it comes to focus of your training and not a secondary part of it. So, what should you do instead? Instead of focusing on training muscles, you should focus on training the primary human movements. These movements are push, pull, squat, lunge, hinge, rotate, and carry. Now, in a separate video, I'll go more in depth as to what they are, but basically you can think of it as, instead of saying, I'm going to do bench press to hit my chest, you can say, I'm going to do bench press to work on my pushing strength. And same thing with pull-ups. Instead of saying, I'm going to do pull-ups to work on my back, say, I'm going to do pull-ups to work on my pulling strength. Now, you may be thinking, well, bodybuilding routines also hit all these movements, so what's the problem with them? To that I say, you're correct. But the problem with most bodybuilding splits is the presence of machine-based movements. So what's the difference between machines and free weights? Machines hit the muscles well, so your chest, your biceps, everything that you already know. However, what they don't hit is the stabilizer muscles. Free weights do. The stabilizer muscles are basically the muscles that kind of keep your body, you could say, steady during a movement, if that makes sense. Take, for example, a hack squat versus a barbell back squat. In a hack squat, you're literally locked into position. You could not lose balance if you try to. In a barbell squat, you're losing balance, you're under pressure, it's very hard to stay balanced. And that's exactly why it's a superior exercise. If you train in a stable environment, you will become strong in a stable environment. Whereas if you train in an unstable environment, you will become strong in an unstable environment, which sounds exactly like both sports and real life. It's the same thing with the pushing movement. Take, for example, a Smith machine bench press versus just a free weight barbell bench press. The Smith machine press trains the pushing muscles alright, but not the pushing movement too well. That's because there's parts of the shoulder joint that stabilize the arms during pressing. See, if that's weak, that's going to go way off. This is called the principle of functional training. Now, you've probably seen many people preaching this, but I think most people get it wrong. Basically do exercises like the Turkish get-up or stability bell squat. The problem with these exercises are the loading. On the Turkish get-up, you're essentially holding the weight up here. And it's a full body movement. It engages everything, but you're limited to the load your shoulder can carry, which is a lot less than what your legs can carry. That is not good for overloading at all. The same thing with the stability ball squat. It's even more unstable than most sporting environments. So I suppose if you really wanted to do it, you should do it in addition to your usual squatting routine instead of a replacement for it, because you simply cannot go heavy enough on that to develop optimal strength and stability at the same time. Literally, your main compound movements, such as a squat, a deadlift, or a bench press, transfer perfectly outside the gym. They have the perfect balance of stability and loading. Not only that, those movements will build about, I'd say, 80% of the aesthetic muscle that you actually want. It's basically a win-win. Here's an actionable step for your next gym session. Depending on whatever split you run, I want you to pick at least one exercise from each movement pattern. So for example, if you have a lower body session, literally pick one functional squat, hinge and lunge movement, and you've done about 80% of the work necessary. Now, if you run a full body split, it does get harder because, well, hitting every movement in one workout is both physically exhausting and very time consuming. So if I was doing 2 full body sessions a week, I would format it something like this. On day 1, you should do a squat and hinge variation. So for example, a squat and Romanian deadlift. Then a horizontal push and pull superset. So in this case, it could be a bench press superset with a row of your choice. And then a carry variation and a rotational exercise. Now, for the rotational on day 1, you want it to be powerful, so make sure it's light and fast. On day 2, you want to change it up a wee bit. You want to change the squat variation again. In this case, I'd recommend a trap bar deadlift since it kind of covers squat and hinge at the same time. And also, you need to get in your weekly lunge, so pick whichever lunge you prefer. It could be a split squat, a lunge, or a Bulgarian split squat. Moving on to upper body, since you did the horizontal push and pull on day 1, this time around you want to do the vertical push and pull. So pick an overhead press of choice and a vertical pull of choice, which is basically just pull-ups or chin-ups. Pick whichever one you want. Then pick a different carry variation this time. Try to have the weight somewhere else. So if you had it at the side of your body on day 1, have it at the front on day 2. And then for your rotational exercise, make this one a bit more focused on strength. Do it heavier and slower. Even if you have just a bit of gym experience, you'll probably have a fair idea of what exercises are in each category. So just experiment, see what you like. And make sure to run the program for 3 to 4 weeks. That's the most important part. Because if you're not progressive overloading, you're not improving. And I guarantee if you do progressive overload on this, you'll see the differences, not just in how you feel, but in how you move like an athlete, which is the important part. And yes, that's an extremely minimalistic approach, but it's honestly about 80% of what you need in terms of pure strength training at least. So that's a basic guide to training like an athlete in the gym instead of just a bodybuilder. There's a lot more coming in the future and that I actually want to cover. If you found this helpful or just want to find out what's coming next, hit the subscribe button. It'll help grow this channel and it takes no effort on your part. Train to dominate, not just to look good.